Hey, VSauce, Michael here.
What's up, Michael?
Not knowing what to do with your hands, or offering a handshake when the other person offers a fist bump.
Oh my God, I do this all the time. It's like since COVID started, I kind of became more like likely to just fist bump, and certain people are more handshake oriented, and then I'll kind of just have to adjust, but then they'll adjust to me, and then it becomes like this weird thing. Yeah. No, not like that.
Forgetting someone's name. Not having anything to say and forgetting your phone at home so you can't be distracted by it. Getting caught staring at a stranger.
Ooh.
Striking up a conversation with someone you don't know in a bathroom.
Why would anybody?
Someone oversharing, telling a group too much information. Overhearing a couple breaking up.
Kind of fun.
Noticing food in someone's teeth, but
Oof.
not telling them, and well, now it's been too long and bringing it up would be weird.
Oof.
Smelling a fart in an elevator that wasn't yours, but well, now you can't even react to it or mention that you've noticed it or pretend you even know what a fart is. All of those things are awkward.
Indeed they are.
We don't like awkwardness. It makes us uncomfortable, cringe.
Yes.
But what is awkwardness? Why is it good? And who is the main character of the universe?
Me.
To really understand awkwardness, we need to put it in context with the entire family of forces that guide social behavior. Think of this sheet of cardboard as a list of all possible behaviors. It's not infinite because of the limits of science and biology. You can't move faster than light or be in two places at once. You can't wear pants made out of molten lead. Next, there are legal limits, the laws of the state. They delineate what you agree not to do, lest the authorities punish you. Murder, stealing, speeding. What's left is molded by the finer tool of social expectations. It's not illegal to chew with your mouth open or not cover a sneeze on a crowded bus or act disrespectfully, but it is frowned upon, punished not by the police, but by social ostracism, public opprobrium, being called rude, gross, mean, annoying. Awkwardness is the finest tool. It sands social dynamics by smoothing out what even etiquette doesn't rule on. It's not a violation of the laws of physics to accidentally hug someone for longer than they expected. It's not against the law either, and the etiquette for how long a hug should last isn't black and white. But it is awkward. Like touching a hot stove or getting a parking fine or losing friends, awkwardness nudges us to avoid certain actions in the future and smooth things out when they happen. People who demonstrate self-consciousness when needed are communicating cooperative intentions, which helps them get along well with others. It's no coincidence that brains susceptible to feeling occasional awkwardness would become so common. They're successful at cooperating, at social life. Feeling awkward shows that you understand and are keen on smooth social exchanges. Now, too much or too little concern for social
That was pretty awkward, just saying.
rules isn't healthy, but research has found that just the right amount is great. When a person shows remorse or embarrassment or awkward discomfort when appropriate, others perceive them as being more trustworthy and their actions as more forgivable. And it's not just perception. Such individuals also tend to be more objectively pro-social when tested, kinder, more generous. Even when a person is completely oblivious to a faux pas they've committed, awkwardness still arises. People around them can feel uncomfortable. It's called vicarious embarrassment, and it's a function of empathy, the ability to feel what others feel, or will feel when or if they realize what they've just done. The more EEE someone is, that is, easily empathetically embarrassed, the harder it is for them to sit through other people's cringe-inducing moments,
Oh.
even fictional ones, like in Cringe.
I was about to say Curb Your Enthusiasm, but nah. Borat is a perfect description. Borat is... I don't even like cringy stuff. I'm not like a cringe guy. I don't like cringe compilations or any of that stuff. But I don't know why. Borat, it's something of like this study of social behavior. And especially with the individuals that he's pulling these ruses on, it's kind of fun to watch them be in the dark while everybody else who's watching is kind of like in on the joke. But yeah, Borat is a perfect example of that.
Cringe comedy. Research has found that being more easily empathetically embarrassed does not correlate to being more easily embarrassed yourself. Instead, it's linked to being more empathetic, an important capacity for social creatures to have. Our seemingly counterintuitive attraction to viewing cringy moments, like, say, bad American Idol auditions, is perhaps then just a light form of morbid curiosity. You may think that awkwardness is totally different from physical pain or outright name-calling, but your brain would disagree. You see, research has found that social missteps activate, among other regions, the secondary somatosensory cortex and dorsal posterior insula, areas of the brain that are also connected to the sensation of physical pain.
Really?
Our brains process the breaking of social standards and the breaking of bones through similar neural pathways. Likewise, the same sympathetic nervous system that mobilizes you to deal with physical threats, fight or flight, is activated by social challenges where awkwardness or embarrassment might be at stake, like events where you are very aware of being watched, speaking in front of a group.
I did public speaking in college, dog. When I tell you it was daunting, it really was, man. It really was. I don't know, maybe it's because there's like a lack of confidence to a certain extent. If I were to do it now, I might fare better, but I still think there's a fair amount of awkwardness. Or even just like when it comes to like talking to strangers, that's to this day still kind of daunting. I'm able to do it, but there's always this keen level of apprehension before I actually have to do it.
Embarrassing yourself in front of onlookers, or having nothing to say on a first date.
Ooh. Yeah.
Awkward silence.
I don't mind awkward
Your
silences.
blood
though.
pressure increases, causing you to overheat and sweat. Oxygen is needed for fighting and running, so breathing increases and digestion shuts down, causing nausea and butterflies in your stomach. Your body instinctively contracts into a protective fetal position, and fighting that reaction to act natural makes you shake.
Ooh.
Blood vessels in your extremities contract to prioritize major organs, leaving you with cold fingers and toes and nose. These symptoms don't alleviate awkwardness. They compound it, but that's history's fault. Long before human social dynamics were complicated enough to involve, is it one kiss or two, or politics at Thanksgiving dinner, we developed primitive reactions to physical threats and haven't had enough time yet to evolve newer ones. Self-conscious anxiety can be tough to get out of our minds after we've done something awkward. Fixating on social blunders is easy and hard to overcome.
Yeah.
Why was I so unsure, so unconfident, so awkward?
Ooh.
Well, some of the blame may lie with the neurotransmitter oxytocin. Oxytocin is sometimes called the love hormone because it modulates prosocial feelings like trust and attachment, which it does. In fact, nasal sprays of oxytocin are being used to increase trust during couples therapy and in the reduction of anxiety and depression. Though there are fears that it could also be used to deviously increase trust and make a person more susceptible to con artist schemes. But oxytocin also modulates negative social feelings like fear and anxiety. A dose of it makes people better at recognizing the facial expressions for disgust and fright. It's also involved in the feelings that make us approach or avoid certain social stimuli.
Yep.
And it may play a role in making positive and negative social interactions more salient in our memories. That is, stand out more,
Okay.
command more of our attention after the fact, make us think about them more. Negative ones especially, because of what psychologists call negativity bias.
Which that
All
means?
things being equal, negative social interactions and negative emotions have a
yes.
greater impact on our mental states than positive ones.
I absolutely hate that. I really wish it wasn't the case. Across like my different social medias, I'll look at comments that I get. Let's just say a post does really well, and I look at the comments, and there'll be a bunch of them, but the ones that stand out to me oftentimes are the ones that are negative. You know, I probably shouldn't say that on fucking camera, because certain people at least might try to use that in order to gain attention. But I don't know why. I don't like the fact that that's the case, but it is the case. You know what I mean? It's instinctual, maybe. I don't know. You get that feeling that, yeah, this motherfucker doesn't like me. Why? Well, fuck him too. But, you know, maybe it comes from a place of like hurt, or I would like to say that it comes from a place of hurt, you know? Maybe.
In fact, we have more words for negative emotions than positive ones, and a richer vocabulary to describe them. Thus, such memories and thoughts can be tough to just get over.
Yeah.
What does the other person think of me? I was so awkward. Are they telling other people? We replay social encounters in our heads over and over again.
Which is really bad, man. I've gotten a lot better at that. But I remember, like, it's funny because I wasn't always like that. But I guess when I got to an age of, like, awareness, I'll say, like, around, like, late high school, I became more aware of myself and more aware of my awkwardness, even though for years I would consciously acknowledge the fact that I'm awkward and have no qualms about it. But I guess you're at this point now where you want people to regard you highly socially, you know, because you want to be a decently socialized individual as a young teen going into adulthood. Yeah, it got to the point where it kind of got like crippling. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I remember I used to go to school when I went to my college. I would wear like shades all the time. I just wanted to look as unapproachable as possible because I guess it was difficult for me to deal with just negative social interactions and the idea that, oh my God, this person's going to see me, you know, they're going to see the fact that I'm not confident or whatever, you know, all of the different hangups that we as social beings have. Thankfully, I got kind of just developed like a sense of like nonchalance about it all because most of the time people really don't care, and in the event that they do, it's kind of like, you know what, if you care about me, that means that I'm just living rent free in your head, which is cool. But you know, even from time to time I have my moments where I'll be awkward and just be kind of, ugh, I can't believe I did this, or I should have said that, you know.
Surely the person we were awkward with remembers us the same way we're remembering ourselves and is equally fixated on that awkward thing we did.
Nope.
Or are they? A great wet blanket for smothering the fire of self-conscious anxieties is perspective. Consider the famous advice of Eleanor Roosevelt. You wouldn't worry so much about what others think of you if you realized how seldom they do.
Oh.
As much as you
Eleanor.
obsess over yourself, you're not the first thing on everyone else's minds.
Yeah. It's almost kind of narcissistic. That's how I had to look at it after a while. Like, you're not that important, respectfully. In the grand scheme of things, you're not really that important. You're just living your life. You're living your existence just as everybody else is. And that's similar to what he talked about in the other video that I reacted to, Sonder, the idea that everybody has, living their lives and they're the main characters in their own stories. Everybody doesn't really think about you even if they had an interaction with you, unless they're really infatuated with you. In that case, it may be in a positive light, you know?
They're worried about themselves.
There you go.
What you think about them. And, more importantly, what they think about themselves.
Yeah.
You're not the center of their world.
Yeah.
Another famous old piece of advice tells us that in your 20s and 30s, you worry about what other people think about you. In your 40s and 50s, you stop worrying what other people think about you. And then, finally, in your 60s and 70s, you realize that they were never thinking about you
at
in
all.
the first place.
Yeah. I can only imagine what it would be like. I'm like 26 now. If I don't really think too much about what other people think about me, but I do think about what people think about me from time to time, and it's only gotten gradually less that I think about that. I can only imagine what I'll be like in my 40s, man. I'm probably going to be one of those guys who just has like zero fucks to give. Like these prank YouTubers who can just go talk to people in the most weirdest and awkward ways and really commit to it. I find that shit to be, even though it's oftentimes very juvenile, it's incredibly amiable, because I know that in that situation, that is not my first instinct. My first instinct isn't to be completely submersed in the role that I'm doing. I'm going to be thinking that, damn, what am I saying to this person? This person doesn't know what's going on. What am I doing? And I'm pretty sure that would get in the way of the prank, because if I'm thinking all of these things in my head as I'm doing it, it's going to come off. So those guys literally give no fucks. And they're usually pretty young, so that's pretty impressive.
The tendency to act and think as though you are the true main character of the universe has been called protagonist disease. It seeps into our behavior all the time. For instance, the fundamental attribution error. When evaluating actions, you often view yourself as a complex character acted upon by various challenges and antagonists, whereas other people are seen as just one-dimensional background characters with simple, unchanging roles. The guy who took way too long ordering in front of you this morning, well, he's obviously just an innately annoying person. That's his entire purpose. But when you take too long ordering, well, it's because the staff was unhelpful, or you were flustered, preoccupied by an earlier conversation. You are the main character after all. You know a lot more about what's going on in your life. It's easy to live like that. There isn't time or mental space to consider every other person as complicated and fully fleshed out.
Right.
But they are.
Yeah.
The realization of this has a name given to it by the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows.
Oh, yes.
One of my favorite resources
and now
YouTube channels. They wrap profound concepts up in tiny little word packages. To be sure, giving something a name doesn't show that you know it or how to feel about it, but nonetheless, words put handles on things so we can manipulate them, hold them down, offer them to others, feel bigger than the concepts they label. Now, their word for acknowledging that you are just an extra in other people's stories, not even cast in most of them, is sonder.
Hey!
This is their definition of it. Sonder, the realization that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and complex as your own, populated with their own ambitions, friends, routines, worries, and inherited craziness. An epic story that continues invisibly around you like an anthill sprawling deep underground with elaborate passageways to thousands of other lives that you'll never know existed, in which you might only appear once as an extra sipping coffee in the background, as a blur of traffic passing on the highway, as a lighted window at dusk. Acknowledging this makes your awkwardness look small.
Yeah.
But it also makes all of you look small.
Because we are.
Tiny. A needle in a giant haystack.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, in possession of a big idea. Your blemishes are lost from far away, and so is your uniqueness.
Yeah.
But the view from way up here, well, it's unbeatable. And as always, Thanks for watching.
Oh man, I dug this one. I dug it, I must say. I dug it. I like this, man. Yeah, that's it. Like I said, I mean, that's one of those concepts that I had to learn because I seen the direction that it was going in when I didn't really have that type of mindset. Man, it could be almost crippling. It could be borderline crippling when you just don't have that self-confidence. A confident person doesn't necessarily say the right thing all the time, or they don't always have the cool, way of doing things. They don't always have this impeccable style or, whatever je ne sais quoi that makes somebody, quote unquote, confident in the traditional sense, or I guess cool, if you will. I think a confident person is able to go through life not having those things. They may have them, they may not have them, but they'll be able to live with the decisions and they'll be able to live with the consequences of their everyday actions. Without the thought that everything is going to end, without the thought that the world is going to crumble and people will see the fraud in them or whatever the case is, like that whole imposter syndrome conundrum. We all feel that to a certain extent or another. Certain people feel it more than others, but we all have our moments of doubt. We all have our moments of insecurity, to put it plainly. As secure as anybody may be, at some point in time, you will become insecure. It's something that everybody suffers from, but knowing that everybody suffers from it makes me feel a little bit better, because when I feel like I had a drop or whatever, I feel like I missed a ball and I fucked up something socially or whatever the case is, I have the solace in knowing that I wasn't the first person to fuck this up, and I'm definitely not going to be the last one. So I take solace in that. And you know what? It makes me feel a little bit better. It makes me feel a little bit better about myself, and I could just live my existence, my measly existence, because like bro said, we are just blips on the radar of the universe. My life individually is incredibly important, but I know that it doesn't mean anything to anybody else outside of, I guess, my bubble of people that I know. Not yet, at least. Maybe it will one day, who knows. But yeah, I did like this video. I like all the VSauce videos usually. But this one was cool, especially going and doing one from like way back. I had got somebody who mentioned that I should probably try to do one from like the earlier eras. And I used to watch these videos a lot more around that time too. So it might be interesting revisiting some of those videos that I had seen in the past. This one I don't think I've ever watched before, so it was cool. And it was so ironic that I ended up watching this video when I had watched the other video not too long ago. I think the illusions of time thing brings this same concept of Sonder and stuff. So I don't believe in a coincidence. I think that things happen for some strange, odd reason, and I think this was one of those things. So without any further ado, I've babbled long enough. I thoroughly enjoy every time I watch these videos, and surprisingly, you guys seem to enjoy it as well. Much to my surprise, I never would have thought that people would be interested in watching VSauce reactions until I did it, and I'm glad that I have, because I like watching dumb stuff. I like watching ignorant stuff, but it's also really interesting to watch something that informs you, challenges your worldview, because that's what I like to do generally. I like to talk to people. I like seeing perspectives that are outside of mine, because it allows me to expand, and it makes me put like a little magnifying glass upon the things that I hold near and dear, and to see if they actually hold up when applied to things outside of me. So yeah, man, it was a pleasure as always. Man, Cool Hands here as always, signing out. Catch up with you.